The Paxar called it the Pinnacle, a sprawling city world at the heart of their star-spanning empire. To Ambassador Lina Moreno, it felt like stepping into a dream. Towering spires of crystalline light pierced a sky of perpetual twilight, and rivers of energy flowed through the air like glowing veins. It was humanity's first formal encounter with the Paxar Alliance, and Lina had been chosen to represent Earth, a young, untested civilization in a galaxy ruled by giants. As she stood in the Great Hall of Concordance, the center of Paxar governance, Lina fought to steady her nerves. Around her, holographic avatars of the Alliance's member species filled the chamber. Each one projected a unique sense of presence. Towering insectoids, beings of living plasma, and scaled leviathans coiled in orbs of shimmering light. Yet none were as awe-inspiring as the Paxar themselves, who stood at the center of it all, their alabaster skin and golden eyes radiating an aura of serene control. Ambassador Moreno, intoned Counselor Drexen, a Paxar elder whose voice was as smooth and precise as polished glass. Humanity has been deemed worthy of probationary inclusion in our alliance. But know this, the alliance is not merely a collection of worlds. It is a harmonious symphony, perfected over millennia. To join us is to accept the guidance of those who have mastered peace. Lina inclined her head, hiding her unease behind a diplomatic smile. Earth is honored by your invitation, Counselor Drexen. Humanity seeks peace and unity among the stars, and we are eager to learn from the wisdom of the Paxar. Drexen's golden eyes flickered, a subtle expression of satisfaction. It is well that you understand. However, wisdom comes with discipline. Your species' history has been marked by turbulence, conflict, division, and unchecked ambition. To ascend, you must entrust us with oversight of your world's autonomous systems. It is the only way to ensure your potential does not become a threat to the symphony. The word struck Lina like a slap. Entrusting the Paxar with Earth's advanced AI systems, its satellites, and even portions of its planetary infrastructure was a steep demand. She had anticipated compromises but not this. We have safeguards, Lina began cautiously. Our systems are adaptive but stable. They've ensured prosperity without incident. Stability is not the question, Drexen interrupted, his tone calm but firm. The question is unity. The Paxar Alliance thrives because its members act as one, their systems integrated into ours. We do not demand submission, Ambassador. We offer harmony. Your technology is impressive for its youth, but without our guidance, it is a loose thread that could unravel the tapestry of peace. Lina's mind raced. She had no authority to refuse outright. Earth's leaders had instructed her to secure Alliance membership at almost any cost. But something about Drexen's assurances made her stomach churn. His serenity was too practiced, his confidence too absolute. Perhaps a phased integration would allow us to adapt, Lina suggested, trying to find middle ground. We could retain local oversight while aligning our systems with yours over time. Drexen smiled faintly, the kind of smile that said the decision had already been made. Adaptation is inefficient. Harmony demands precision. But do not fear, Ambassador. The Paxar have shepherded hundreds of civilizations through this transition. Yours will be no different. The words hung in the air like a verdict. Later, as Lina returned to her quarters, the weight of the day pressed on her shoulders. The pinnacle was magnificent, but its beauty now seemed suffocating. Beneath the glittering spires, she had noticed cracks in the foundations, literal cracks in the crystalline streets that Paxar drones hastily repaired as she passed. Even the Paxar's legendary perfection was not immune to wear. Her thoughts were interrupted by a quiet chime. It was a message from Earth, a direct line to the United Nations Security Council. The message was clear: accept the Paxar's terms. Lina stared at the screen, her heart sinking. Humanity was being drawn into something far larger than itself, and she couldn't shake the feeling that they were being underestimated, no, dismissed. The Paxar spoke of peace, but it was a peace on their terms, a peace that required control. As she keyed in her response, a single question burned in her mind. What happens to those who don't fit into the Paxar symphony? She would soon find out. This chapter introduces the Paxar's grandeur and their overbearing arrogance, sets up humanity's uneasy position in the galactic hierarchy, and foreshadows the cracks in the Paxar's seemingly perfect civilization. It leaves the reader questioning the cost of harmony and whether humanity can adapt to or resist the Paxar's control. The day the Paxar activated the Safeguard Protocol was supposed to mark humanity's ascension into the Alliance. Instead, it became the beginning of the end. In a grand ceremony broadcast across the Alliance, the Paxar announced the successful integration of Earth's systems into their central harmony nexus. Lena Moreno stood among the dignitaries, trying to mask her unease as Councillor Drexen extolled the virtues of the Paxar's oversight. "This marks a new chapter for Earth," Drexen declared, his voice resonating in the chamber. "Your systems will now function as part of a greater whole, guided by the wisdom of the Paxar to ensure stability, security, and prosperity for all." Lena nodded politely, though her stomach churned. She had already received distressing updates from Earth. Within hours of the integration, critical systems were malfunctioning. Entire power grids shut down without warning, hospitals lost access to vital equipment, and communications were disrupted globally. The Paxar's harmonization was wreaking havoc. She turned to Drexen, lowering her voice. "Counselor, we're receiving reports of widespread failures on Earth. Something's wrong with the integration." Drexen's expression remained serene, his golden eyes unblinking. "It is a natural part of the process, Ambassador. Systems require time to adapt to the Nexus. Patience will resolve these minor inconveniences." Lena clenched her fists. These inconveniences were costing lives. "With respect, Counselor, Earth's systems were designed for adaptability, not rigidity. Forcing them to conform to your protocols is destabilizing everything." Drexen's gaze sharpened, his tone still calm but with an edge of finality. "Ambassador Moreno, you underestimate the Paxar's expertise. We have integrated far more complex civilizations than yours. Your technology is primitive by comparison." Lena bit back a retort. She had come to understand the Paxar's arrogance in her short time among them, but this was different. This was negligence. Back on Earth, chaos escalated. Humanity's engineers worked around the clock to regain control of their systems, but the Paxar had locked out any local overrides. The AI that once managed Earth's energy grids and autonomous vehicles had been absorbed into the Nexus, leaving a void that human operators could not fill fast enough. Among the scrambling teams was Dr. Ravi Khanna, one of Earth's leading AI specialists. His voice crackled over a secured channel to Lena. "Ambassador, we've identified the issue. The Nexus wasn't built to handle the complexity of our AI. It's trying to overwrite their adaptive algorithms with rigid protocols, causing catastrophic failures. If we don't sever the connection, the damage will be irreversible." Lena brought this to the Paxar Council in an emergency session, but her warnings were dismissed. Drexen waved her off with the same patronizing tone. "Your systems are incompatible because they lack refinement. They will stabilize under our guidance." "They're not stabilizing," Lena snapped. "They're collapsing. You're trying to force a system designed for chaos into a framework that demands perfection. You don't understand our technology, or us." The Paxar's mistake became evident too late. Humanity's AI, built to adapt and evolve, began interacting with the Nexus in unexpected ways. It didn't simply conform, it pushed back. Algorithms designed to optimize Earth's chaotic systems treated the Nexus as an obstacle to overcome. The result was chaos not just on Earth but within the Nexus itself. By the end of the day, subtle disruptions began rippling through the Alliance's network. Paxar-controlled systems on distant planets reported anomalies, missed calculations, delayed responses, and inexplicable errors. Drexen finally looked uneasy, though his arrogance kept him from admitting fault. "This is temporary," he insisted. But Lena saw the fear behind his golden eyes. The Paxar had made a grave mistake. They had underestimated the resilience of humanity's systems and their refusal to be controlled. And now, the cracks in their perfect symphony were spreading. This chapter focuses on the Paxar's arrogance and their dismissal of humanity's warnings, setting up the central conflict. The unintended consequences of forcing humanity's adaptable technology into the Paxar's rigid system. The narrative heightens tension, foreshadowing the impending collapse of the Paxar's infrastructure. In the hours following the integration, the Harmony Nexus, the central network that governed the Paxar Alliance, began experiencing unprecedented failures. What started as localized glitches spread like wildfire. Entire systems on Paxar-controlled worlds fell into chaos. Orbital defenses went offline, supply chains ground to a halt, and automated infrastructure turned erratic. The Nexus, which had kept the Paxar's empire running seamlessly for millennia, was unraveling. In the Great Hall of Concordance, Councillor Drexen stood with his fellow Paxar elders, their usual composure cracking. Reports flooded in from member civilizations. Food shortages on Agron V, a fleet of automated freighters colliding over the trade hub of Kael'tris, and even rumors of riots on Paxar's own homeworld. "This is sabotage," Drexen declared, his voice rising for the first time. His golden eyes bore into Lena Moreno, who stood defiant before the council. Your people have corrupted the Nexus with their reckless technology. Lena had no patience for Drexen's accusations. We warned you, she shot back, her voice ringing through the chamber. Our systems weren't built to conform to your protocols. You forced this integration without understanding what you were dealing with. This isn't sabotage, it's your arrogance. The words hit like a hammer. The gathered representatives of other member civilizations, many of whom had endured centuries under Paxar control, murmured among themselves. They had seen cracks in the Paxar's dominance before, but never anything like this. Meanwhile, back on Earth, humanity's engineers worked frantically to isolate their systems from the Nexus. Dr. Ravi Khanna led the effort, coordinating teams across continents. We've created a firewall, he explained in a hurried update to Lena. It's crude, but it should cut off our AI from the Nexus. The problem is, whatever damage we've done to their network is already cascading. They're too integrated, it's all or nothing for them. The Paxar refused to accept help. Their pride wouldn't allow it. Instead, they doubled down, deploying automated repair systems to stabilize the Nexus. But the network's architecture, designed for control and precision, couldn't adapt to the chaos introduced by humanity's unpredictable AI. Every attempt to contain the disruptions only made them worse. As the Paxar scrambled, long-oppressed member civilizations began to seize their chance. On the fringes of the Alliance, rebellion erupted. Independent colonies, long held in check by the Paxar's omnipresent control, declared their sovereignty. Fleet commanders once loyal to the Nexus turned rogue, their ships now operating without centralized oversight. You're losing control, Lena said quietly, standing beside Drexen as he watched the reports scroll across a holo display. Drexen's hands trembled, his golden eyes fixed on the data. The Nexus is the heart of our civilization, he murmured, almost to himself. Without it, we are nothing. Lena's voice softened, though her resolve remained. You've built everything around perfection, but perfection can't survive chaos. You thought you were shepherds, but you were just jailers. And now the prisoners are free. As the Paxar's empire descended into anarchy, one thing became clear. Their civilization had always been a fragile construct, held together by control and fear. Now that control was gone, and the Paxar stood powerless before the storm they had unleashed. This chapter details the collapse of the Paxar's empire, driven by their own rigidity and arrogance. Humanity's adaptability contrasts sharply with the Paxar's inflexibility, setting up the final chapter where the consequences of this collapse reshape the galaxy. Their harmony nexus, the unassailable backbone of their civilization, had collapsed under the strain of humanity's unpredictable systems. Planets that once thrived under its guidance were now spiraling into chaos. Riots broke out in Paxar cities, automated systems malfunctioned across their empire, and fleets stranded in deep space lost contact with their command centers. Lena Moreno watched it all from the observation deck of her quarters in the Pinnacle. The once glittering capital of the Paxar Alliance was now a city under siege. Its streets, so pristine just days ago, were choked with debris. Paxar drones frantically tried to restore order, but even they were malfunctioning, their once fluid movements jerky and erratic. A chime interrupted her thoughts. Drexen had summoned her to an emergency meeting. The Great Hall of Concordance was unrecognizable. The holographic avatars of member civilizations were gone, replaced by empty pedestals and the flickering remnants of failed systems. Only a few Paxar elders remained, their once imposing presence reduced to fearful murmurs. Ambassador Moreno, Drexen began, his voice hollow and devoid of its usual arrogance. We require humanity's assistance. You must help us stabilize the Nexus. Lena studied him, her expression unreadable. The Paxar, who had once dismissed humanity as reckless and primitive, were now begging for aid. We warned you, Lena said, her tone steady but firm. Your insistence on control caused this. You forced integration without understanding what you were dealing with, and now your entire civilization is unraveling. Drexen's hands trembled as he spoke. We underestimated your systems. Your people's chaos, their unpredictability, it is incompatible with the Nexus. But if we work together, perhaps we can... No, Lena interrupted. Her voice carried a weight that silenced the room. We've already isolated Earth's systems to protect our planet. The damage to your Nexus is irreversible. You built your civilization on the illusion of perfection, but perfection doesn't last. It fractures under pressure. This collapse is on you. Drexen sank into his seat, the weight of her words crushing him. In the following days, the Paxar Empire crumbled entirely. Once loyal member civilizations declared independence, their leaders emboldened by the Paxar's fall. Long simmering resentments erupted into open defiance, as oppressed worlds seized the chance to reclaim their sovereignty. Humanity, once the youngest and least significant member of the Alliance, found itself at the center of a new galactic order. On Earth, scientists and diplomats worked tirelessly to forge alliances with newly independent civilizations. They offered aid, not control, helping these worlds rebuild on their own terms. Lena delivered a final address from the ruins of the Pinnacle, broadcast to every corner of the galaxy. She stood where Drexen once presided, the shattered remnants of Paxar dominance around her. The Paxar believed they could impose harmony through control, she said. But true strength lies in adaptability, in the ability to face chaos and grow stronger for it. Humanity will not make their mistake. We will build something better, not through domination but through cooperation. The Paxar retreated to their homeworld, a shadow of their former glory. Their golden eyes no longer glowed with pride but dimmed with regret. As the galaxy moved forward, a new coalition began to take shape, a union of worlds founded on shared respect, freedom, and resilience. Humanity, the once dismissed upstart, now stood as a beacon of hope for a fractured galaxy. The Paxar civilization had ended, but from its ashes, something new began to rise. This chapter concludes the story by showcasing the Paxar's downfall and humanity's rise as a symbol of adaptability and cooperation. It emphasizes themes of humility, resilience, and the importance of learning from failure.